Imagine this. You wake up and your joints feel rusted. Your neck won't turn. Your knees feel like concrete. You think age, the weather, slept wrong. But the real cause might be on your plate. Yes, your morning habits could be intensifying your joint pain, especially if you're eating what rheumatologists at Johns Hopkins University call an inflammatory food trap, foods that trigger inflammation before you've even put your socks on.
The breakfast villain, sodium. When Carol, a woman from Texas, visited her doctor complaining about swollen fingers and elbow pain, she never imagined the culprit wasn't arthritis, but her breakfast. Her favorite ham and cheese sandwich contained over 1,800 milligrams of sodium, nearly the entire daily limit in just one meal. Sodium retains fluid in the tissues, which leads directly to swelling and joint pain. This is especially true for people over 50, whose kidneys are less efficient with age. Carbs that make joints. Lazy, most Americans start their morning with something light: a croissant, a bun, or cereal with milk. But that lightness is deceiving. Simple carbs cause a sharp spike in blood sugar, triggering the release of insulin and cytokines, molecules that fuel inflammation. In a 2023 study at the Chicago Arthritis Clinic, patients reported increased joint pain after just 7 days of sweet breakfasts. The problem isn't just sugar or flour, it's the combination of both, especially on an empty stomach. Fried meat, psoas flare up. Love crispy bacon in the morning? Well, your joints don't. Foods high in saturated fats and AGEs, advanced glycation end products, intensify inflammation. A Mayo Clinic study revealed that osteoarthritis patients who ate fried meats for breakfast had 27% higher levels of inflammatory markers in their blood. In short, every bacon-filled morning becomes a mini explosion inside your joints. Sweet breakfast, bitter outcome. Dolores, a woman from Ohio, had been eating muffins and syrupy coffee for years. When hip pain began, she thought it was just age catching up. But after a visit to the Cleveland Clinic, it turned out her breakfast contained over 35 grams of sugar, nearly twice the recommended amount. Sugar causes glycation in joint fluid proteins, making them less elastic. The result? Painful friction with every movement. Dairy, friend or foe to your joints. It may be surprising, but for many, especially as they age, milk and yogurt can worsen joint pain. Around 20–30% of Americans over 50 develop hidden intolerances to lactose or casein. This causes inflammation in the gut lining, which can then trigger systemic inflammation. According to Dr. James Larson from the California Rheumatology Center, his patients saw joint pain reduced by half within 10 days of cutting dairy from their breakfasts. White bread. Inflammation. Packaged. White toast might seem harmless, but white flour has a high glycemic index. It quickly raises blood sugar, which sparks inflammation. A Harvard School of Public Health study found that people who ate refined grains in the morning were 34% more likely to suffer from chronic joint pain than those who chose whole grains. Eggs. Not always good, especially in the morning. Don't be surprised. Eggs are nutritious, but not for everyone, and definitely not when fried. Egg yolks contain arachidonic acid, which can worsen inflammation, especially in those with rheumatoid arthritis. And the way you cook them matters. Frying in butter adds even more saturated fat, which harms your joints. If you're an egg fan, switch to boiled eggs or water-based omelets to avoid morning flare-ups. Coffee and a donut? A joint disaster. The most American breakfast habit, a donut with coffee, is the worst one for your joints. Donuts contain sugar, trans fats, and refined flour. Coffee? It has caffeine, which reduces magnesium absorption, a mineral vital for healthy cartilage. If donuts are a regular part of your morning, your joints will suffer from both dehydration and inflammation. According to the CDC, this habit speeds up osteoarthritis by nearly 20% in people over 55. Soda in the morning, a double hit on your joints. Craving an ice-cold Diet Cola to start your day? Bad idea. Artificial sweeteners, especially aspartame, can trigger joint pain in sensitive individuals. Janet from Arizona noticed her elbows and knees would burn after her morning soda. Doctors confirmed aspartame activates neuropeptides that increase pain sensitivity. Add dehydration and artificial chemicals to the mix, and you've got half a day of joint inflammation. A healthy breakfast. That harms? Sadly, yes. You might feel good about eating a healthy breakfast, muesli, juice, yogurt, and still struggle with chronic joint pain. Why? Because healthy doesn't always mean joint-friendly. Many so-called wellness foods hide inflammatory ingredients. Sometimes marketing beats physiology, and our joints pay the price. Granola, a ticking time bomb. One of America's trendiest breakfasts, granola, looks perfect. Oats, nuts, dried fruit. But read the label. Sugar, palm oil, molasses, artificial flavorings. Store-bought granola can pack up to 25 grams of sugar per serving, twice the safe limit for joint health. Ashley from San Diego had been suffering from wrist pain since her teens. After quitting morning granola, her symptoms dropped by 70% in just 1 month. Fresh orange juice? It's a trap. We often think of orange juice as liquid health, but even fresh juice, especially store-bought, contains concentrated fructose, which fuels inflammation. A 2022 study from Harvard Medical School found that women over 50 who drank fructose-heavy juices in the morning had a 19% higher risk of arthritis. Yes, it's full of vitamins, but also a glucose spike that your joints will not forgive. Probiotic yogurt. Friend to the gut, enemy to the joints? Even organic yogurts often contain additives, sugar, flavorings, fruit purees. The issue isn't just the sweetness, but how your body reacts to casein, the main milk protein. In people predisposed to inflammation, like those with osteoarthritis, casein can cause joint swelling. Rheumatologist Dr. Stephen Maurer advises switching to unsweetened coconut or almond yogurt if your knees or fingers are hurting. Smoothies, vitamin boost, or sugar bomb. Smoothies have become a wellness symbol, but most are packed with bananas, honey, juice, yogurt, even oat milk. All of that can spike blood sugar, and with it, inflammation, especially if you're adding protein powders with artificial sweeteners. Laura from Boston noticed her wrists would swell just 30 minutes after her morning energy smoothie. Ditching smoothies entirely relieved her joint pain in just 2 weeks. Gluten-free doesn't always mean safe. Many people switch to a gluten-free breakfast, hoping to save their joints. But replacing gluten isn't always a good thing. Such products often contain rice flour, cornstarch, or molasses, ingredients with a high glycemic index. Blood sugar levels spike just like after eating a donut, and that means your joints suffer. Dr. Linda Chang from Portland ran an experiment with patients on a gluten-free breakfast. 60% of them experienced increased stiffness in their knees. Peanut butter, in reality, an inflammatory cocktail. Even in the U.S., where peanut butter is almost sacred, doctors admit it's not the best choice for those with joint problems. Commercial versions contain sugar, palm oil, and trans fats. All of that damages not only your shape, but also your joint cartilage. Fred from Atlanta, a former coach, was surprised when his shoulder pain disappeared, just because he cut out his morning peanut butter and replaced it with avocado toast and eggs. Plant-based milk, not always the angel it seems. Oat, soy, almond, they sound safe. But check the ingredients. Many American brands add gum arabic, carrageenan, sugar, flavorings, and stabilizers. Carrageenan, in particular, can trigger intestinal inflammation, which indirectly affects the joints. Susan from Seattle switched to almond milk and began to complain of strange pains in her wrists. After an analysis, the culprit became clear. Her morning latte with carrageenan. Iced coffee, cold and painful, not just in taste. Few people realize iced coffee on an empty stomach is a shock for your blood vessels. Sudden cooling of the gastrointestinal tract causes vascular reactions, which lead to muscle and joint spasms. Many patients with fibromyalgia and arthritis feel a spike in pain within 30 to 60 minutes after drinking iced coffee. Even decaf isn't safe if it's combined with milk and ice. Honey, a natural product, but not for an empty stomach. Adding honey too often to your morning drinks or porridge can be a problem. Despite its antibacterial properties, honey is pure fructose, and on an empty stomach, it's absorbed especially fast. This speeds up inflammation and triggers the very reaction that causes your joint tissues to swell. Research from the University of Arizona shows honey can be a trigger for morning flare-ups in people with chronic inflammation. Part 2. What should you eat in the morning so your joints say thank you? Anti-inflammatory breakfast. Myth or reality? Actually, it's real, and it's delicious. Unlike the standard sweet and flour-based breakfasts, anti-inflammatory nutrition relies on healthy fats, fiber, antioxidants, and moderate protein. This kind of food not only avoids irritating the joints, it actively reduces pain, swelling, and morning stiffness. The secret is knowing exactly what to put on your plate. Greens, your joint's best friend in the morning. Spinach, kale, arugula, in the morning? Yes, especially in the form of an omelet or a green smoothie without fruit. Leafy greens are rich in vitamin K, magnesium, folate, and antioxidants that help slow cartilage degeneration. In Chicago, a patient named Jennifer with 15 years of arthritis switched to green breakfasts. 3 months later, she cut her painkiller dose in half. Boiled egg, pure nourishment without inflammation. A simple boiled egg is ideal protein. No sugar, no gluten, no dairy, no additives. For those with arthritis or gout, it's the gold standard. The key, don't fry it in oil. Boil or steam it. Doctors from the Mayo Clinic recommend starting the day with 2 eggs and a slice of whole grain bread without sugar. This gives you stable energy, without sugar spikes, and protects your joints.
This video is for informational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. Always consult with your doctor before making any dietary changes, especially if you have chronic health conditions. Your health is your responsibility. Enjoyed the content? Hit the like button so you don't lose it. And subscribe. More simple and effective tips for joint health and beyond are coming your way. If you know someone who wakes up in pain, share this video. It might just be the beginning of a new chapter for them.
Omega-3, the fat that heals. Salmon, sardines, mackerel, all natural sources of omega-3, which can reduce joint inflammation at the cellular level. A study from the U.S. National Institutes of Health showed regular intake of omega-3 at breakfast, over 3 months, reduced morning joint pain in 67% of patients. Not a fan of fish? Choose capsules, but make sure they're certified and free from heavy metals. Chia pudding, tiny seeds, huge effect. Chia seeds are a powerful source of plant-based omega-3, fiber, and antioxidants. Breakfast made from chia, almond milk, and sugar-free berries is ideal for easing joint pain and stabilizing digestion. Sweet from Austin said, "When I switched from oatmeal to chia pudding, I could finally move my fingers in the morning without pain for the first time in years." Berries, nature's painkiller. Blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. They're rich in anthocyanins, natural compounds that reduce inflammation. They help lower oxidative stress, which contributes to the breakdown of cartilage. Doctors from UCLA include berries in their must-eat list for patients with rheumatoid arthritis. One rule: don't turn them into sugary smoothies. Add them to whole, balanced breakfasts. Green tea instead of coffee. Good for your joints, and yes, still energizing. The caffeine in your morning coffee can lead to dehydration. But green tea contains L-theanine, a compound that both relaxes and energizes at the same time. Even more importantly, EGCG, the key antioxidant in green tea, helps suppress joint inflammation. A study from the University of Michigan showed drinking green tea regularly in the morning reduced stiffness in people with osteoarthritis by an average of 23% coconut oil. If you must fry, fry with this. If you still prefer something fried in the morning, choose coconut oil. Unlike sunflower or corn oil, it doesn't trigger inflammation when heated. Doctors at the Cleveland Center for Functional Medicine recommend it as the main fat for patients with joint pain. It also works well when added to coffee or porridge, if you're preparing them the right way. Sweet potato instead of toast. Fiber plus antioxidants. Sweet potato, or yam, is more than just a carb. It's rich in beta-carotene and potassium, and has a low glycemic index. That makes it a perfect morning carb. William from Dallas, a former runner with knee arthritis, swapped his breakfast buns for baked sweet potato with egg. 2 months later, he was back to light jogging, without pain. Almond butter, the ideal replacement for peanut. Peanut butter equals inflammation. Almond butter equals calming your joints, especially when it's made without sugar or stabilizers. Almonds are rich in magnesium, zinc, and vitamin E, all essential for cartilage repair and reducing inflammation. Kelly from Denver shared that her wrist pain almost disappeared when she started having almond butter on crisp bread in the morning. Warm drink, lemon water. Simple, yet powerful. Starting your day with warm water and lemon instead of cold beverages is a game changer. It activates the digestive system, flushes out toxins, reduces inflammation, and boosts circulation, including in the joints. It's simple, yet patients at clinics in New York often describe this habit as the turning point in managing their morning pain. Bone broth, an ancient remedy, now backed by science. Bone broth is rich in glucosamine, chondroitin, and collagen, the very building blocks of your joints. Drinking broth in the morning, either as a dish or a base for soup, reduces inflammation, improves cartilage elasticity, and helps with joint cracking. In Houston, there's a clinic where every new arthritis patient receives one first recommendation: morning bone broth, every single day.
Your joints are not a sentence. They're a mirror of how you live. Joint pain isn't something you're supposed to just live with. It's not old age, not genetics, and definitely not normal. It's your body sending up a flare. Hey, stop poisoning me at breakfast. But here's the good news. You can flip the script starting tomorrow morning. Cut out sugar, and your joints will thank you. Add greens, omega-3s, and chia, and you'll be amazed how flexible your fingers become. Swap your coffee for green tea, and the energy will come back while the inflammation fades away. You're not alone. Thousands of people across the U.S. have escaped the pain just by changing what they eat first thing in the morning. Your joints can be free again. Your body can move with ease again. And every morning can start not with pain, but with joy. Just stop eating what breaks you down. And start your day with what builds you back up.